All right. I will start our meeting of the Planning Commission here. I'm going to call to order. It looks like we do have a quorum. Everybody is present. That's the first time in a long time. It's good to go. All right. With that, Alderman Berry, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. First up on the agenda is the approval of our previous minutes. If you will review those, and I will entertain a motion when anyone is ready.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion from Mr. Schwer.
Second.
Second from Mr. Sandlin. All right. All those in favor of passing the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. Any reports from officers or staff?
Yes, I have a couple quick updates. I attended the Tullahoma Tree Board meeting 2 months ago, and from that meeting, they had asked to review the existing tree protection requirements of the zoning ordinance as well as the subdivision control ordinances for potential revisions that they would recommend back to this Planning Commission. One section that they wanted me to highlight in the existing subdivision regulations to you states it's section 4-8.4, existing features which would add value to development or the area as a whole, such as trees, water courses and falls, historic spots, and similar irreplaceable assets shall be preserved in the design of the subdivision as required by the Planning Commission. And then it goes on. So the Planning Commission does have an option if there's a unique feature on a given site, including a stand or a remarkable tree, that the Planning Commission can require that to be preserved within a subdivision approval. So you do have that as an option.
Okay.
The second statement I will have is coming to you at your November 15th meeting. I will be bringing before you revisions to the subdivision regulations regarding vesting rights. Back in 2014, Tullahoma statute was changed regarding the protection of private property rights and vested rights regarding the expiration of subdivision approvals as well as site plan approvals. Those changes from 2014 were never incorporated into your code, so we're doing that at this time. We'll be bringing it for you in November.
Okay.
Those are per statute, so there's no necessary negotiation. There's no being less restrictive or more restrictive in this instance.
All right. Anything
That's all I
else?
have.
Anybody else? All right. With that, we will move. There is no old business. All right. We'll move to new business. First one is subdivision plat. Okay. This one I'm going to announce is the K Low Minor Subdivision, but they have, and it is, the applicant is Chris Bateman, but it has been asked to continue till November 15th Planning Commission meeting, so that one will be continued. Next up is the Butner Minor Subdivision plat. That's going to be a plat that creates 2 lots from existing 2.5 acres on 430 Inglewood Drive. Our applicants are Mikey and Tracy Butner. Would they like to speak on to the?
Yes, thank you. We're proposing to divide the stated subdivision into two plots. Just for the simple purposes of our house, okay? We have met with the Planning Commission and been advised of some things to take care of. I believe that we've taken care of all those. Ms. Mary, we'll turn that into you. Is there anything that we need to address now, or do we need to?
Not at this time, unless the board has any direct questions for you. That's fine.
Does the board have any questions for Mr. Butner? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. This is now the public hearing. I want to open the floor for anybody that would like to speak about this particular minor subdivision plat. Opening public hearing. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. All right. Reports from staff?
Thank you. Mary Samaniego, Senior Planner. This is the Butner Minor Subdivision. It is currently, the property is located at 430 Inglewood Drive in the southeastern portion of the city. Currently is developed with one single-family house, and the existing entire site is 2.5 acres. They are proposing to subdivide the property into two pieces, one with frontage directly onto Inglewood, and then the other with a 30-foot strip of land that goes to the back lot, as well as another strip of land on the southern part of the lot, being 15 feet going to the back lot as well. This meets all of the subdivision control ordinance standards except for Section 4-3.2, which states that for a flag lot, which is a lot that has a thin strip up to a road and then widens out to the buildable area in the back, for the flag lot, for a subdivision greater than 1.5 acres, the width of the flag pole portion should be at least 50 feet wide. In this instance, as you can see in the presentation, it is only 30 feet, so they're asking for a variance from that section. Staff feels comfortable recommending approval of that variance. The intent of having a 50-foot wide strip for a flag lot that's over an acre and a half is for the potential further development of that larger piece. If the flag was 50 feet wide, that's the same distance you need to put in a roadway. In this instance, there is already a 40-foot wide easement on the adjoining property to the direct east, plus the 15 feet that the Butners have in the rear lot. Actually, that would be a 55-foot wide area that could facilitate it for a future roadway if the further property to the rear were to develop.
Okay.
Saying that, staff recommends approval. Subject to all of staff comments, there's still a couple minor corrections to the site, subdivision plat that need to be completed before signatures.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. All right, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have it from
Subject to all staff comments.
subject to all, is that correct, Mr. Sandlin?
Yes, well, you always have to include staff comments.
Staff
in the motion,
comments.
please.
All right, Mr. Sandlin had the motion, and I think Mr. Berry was the second. All right, open for discussion. Any questions from the commission?
Mary, or the only reason for that 30-foot versus 50-foot variance is this, you can't get the setback on the existing property, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It would be right up to the house, and you can't create a nonconformity through a subdivision.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. Our third one also is going to be Cotton Swill Minor Subdivision. That's Michael and Katina Swill.
Sliwa?
Swila, okay. This has been a request to continue to November 15th, so we will look at that one again next meeting. So we have now the Whitley Minor Subdivision. It's to create two existing lots from 9.9 acres on 144 Deer Creek Lane. Thomas Whitley, is he present? Or someone representing him?
Chairman, I do not see anybody. I don't see Mr. Whitley here, nor do I see his engineer. This is a minor subdivision that's in the urban growth boundary and on septic, and they're required to have the septic signatures prior to the planning commission hearing. Many times they walk in with it. I don't see him present, so I ask that this is continued to November 15th.
All right, we will continue this one as well to November 15th.
2021.
2021, yes, ma'am. All right, with that, now we are going to zoning map amendment, public hearing. This is zoning map amendment 258 request, and this is a request to rezone the parcel in the 200 block of Letford Mill Road from General Commercial District C2 to High Density Residential District R3. Our applicant is Mr. Alan Howard. Mr. Howard?
I feel like I'm sort of starting to be part of the family. I've been here so much. But My plan with this is, this property, I see the growth needs of Tullahoma, and I see the growth. What I wanted to do is sort of sweeping the country now is townhomes. We don't have any townhomes available in Tullahoma right now. We're presently putting some in Manchester that I had hoped that would gone out on in the place of Pinnacle Point back a couple years ago when we were in the plant stage, but it just didn't happen. But I think it's something that Tullahoma needs, and to make y'all aware of the difference between a townhome and a condo is got to have a front door and a back door, and they are surveyed out individually. It's not like you're buying a condo, so, or an apartment even. But I think there's a tremendous need here. I think I know we've got these started in Manchester, and we've got super interest and haven't put them on the market yet. So, and they're running somewhere around 2,000 square feet, I guess, 1,800, 2,000 square feet, which is what I would shoot for in this market here also. But I'd be open to any questions or anything I might want to do. And by the way, the front side of that property, eventually we might leave part of it as commercial. Right now, there's a part of it that I have bought that is commercial, and we might would add some more commercial land to that later. But I'm open to any questions you might have.
That you would be during the public section. Any questions from the commission at this point in time for Mr. Howard?
Just for clarity, these would be properties that would be purchased rather than?
Yes, that's correct.
Rather than rented, okay.
That's correct.
Any others? All right, with that, thank you, Mr. Howard. All right, now we will go to the public hearing section. All right, you have, if you would, I'm going to open the public hearing. You have 2 minutes. State your name and address. And
Hi, my name is Patricia Porter. I own 200 Ledford Mill Road, the old Skate Escape, which we just purchased September 2nd, have opened it October 1st, and it's doing wonderful. I'd like to know what part is going to stay commercial or proposed commercial, and how that's going to affect my business. I own all the way up to the back of Lowe's, to Ledford Mill, to his property line, and on the west side, his property line.
well, on this thing, this is let me make sure I'm doing it correctly. An R3, is that a mixed use? Is that our mixed use? No, that's not our mixed use.
No.
That's just strictly residential. So you
Correct.
would have to come back and so this would all be residential at this time. This zoning would be a complete residential area.
Okay, so with the overnight skates that we have, the music on Friday and Saturday nights until 11, is that going to be a volume control variance? I just need to know how this is going to affect my business if this goes through. I'm 1.9 million in debt right now.
I understand that. Mary?
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
I'm nervous.
No, that's fine. It's my professional opinion. I've seen, I'm well aware of your site. I've been out there during inspections, and I don't anticipate that there should be any direct adverse effect from a townhome development within close proximity to your use.
Okay, now the property that I own that is adjacent, that goes to the east, up to the back of Lowe's, 4-point-something acres is flood and marsh.
Correct.
3 plus or minus is usable for outdoor, which we wanted to bring in the spring to possibly put paintball, summer concerts,
Right.
fundraisers, things for the kids that are in foster care and whatnot.
Right.
Would that affect that?
No, I mean, understand that you would still ultimately be controlled under the city's noise ordinance.
Which ends at 10.
So that wouldn't have any effect regardless if this property had 100 townhomes or 1 house. You would still only be controlled by the city's noise ordinance.
And that's at 10 p.m.?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I
what
believe the
exact
noise
numbers are.
ordinance within the city limits is 10 PM, but because of where we're located and the airport and businesses that are closed at that time of night, when we close at 11 or we do an overnight lock-in for skating,
Right.
do we have to lower the volume? Is that going to be a decibel or anything that's going to affect the townhomes and residents of the future community?
No, there are no additional noise regulations because of the townhome development.
Okay. And then we won't find out about the property to the east of me, whether it's going to stay commercial or be rezoned residential?
Once I'm about to give my presentation that I'll show you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yes. All right. And was there anybody else that would like to speak during the public hearing? Yes, ma'am, you have 2 minutes. State your name and address.
My name is Cheryl Barnes, and I am the president of the Tullahoma Kennel Club, and we own property in that 200 block as well. And we just basically would like to know how it's going to affect us as well. We plan on, in the future, building a building. Right now, we finally got it fenced in. We're going to start having events, which will probably be on the weekends during the daylight. There will be dogs barking, but it won't be at 10 o'clock at night. So no dogs are ever going to be housed there. We're just going to have events there. So we're just trying to figure out how that's going to affect us.
I would say it would be the same.
Yeah,
Here.
again, Mary Samaniego, my professional opinion, it would be the same thing. It would still ultimately just be controlled by the City of Tullahoma noise ordinance. And I will say that when and if this project were to be approved, it's all public record and zoning record that the surrounding area is still zoned commercial. So any potential owner of a townhome in that development would see that they're surrounded by commercial uses as well as across the street from the airport. So there's
Okay.
certain assumptions associated with that.
And that was my next question. I thought that that property was under some sort of restrictions because of the airport and then also the marshland that's right there.
I will get to
You're
that
going to
in my
get to that, okay.
presentation.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's a lot of
Anybody else that would like to speak?
foreshadowing.
There it is. They're all waited with bated breath.
Yeah.
All right, okay. I will close the public hearing. Mary?
Thank you. Mary Samaniego, Senior Planner. Again, as the applicant stated, he is proposing to rezone the current property, which is a little over 35 acres, from general commercial C2 to R3, which is high-density residential. Shown before you is the existing zoning map. The red color that you are seeing, the subject property is in light blue. The red color that you are seeing is all existing C2 zoning. The property that is the Kennel Club is directly, that the speaker just referred to, is directly to the west, and then the skating rink, the previous skating rink, which is now the Family Fun Center, is directly to the east. Here is a comprehensive land use map on the subject property as well as the surrounding properties to the direct west are in the residential land use category, and the red color is commercial land use category, and then to the south, across Ledford Mill Road, the striped area is the airport property, and the light purple is industrial. This is an existing use map. The subject property is currently vacant. The surrounding area, again, south is the airport. There are some single-family developments further to the west. The immediate area is some commercial development, being the Family Fun Center. Directly southwest of their property line, the subject property's property line, is the Ascend office building. That small, I don't think my laser pointer is going to work, but that small square that's cut out along Ledford Mill Road of the subject property is currently zoned commercial, and that's the property that he's leaving to be commercial developed. whenever the planning commission or the board of mayor and aldermen consider removing commercial property from inventory of available lands within a given jurisdiction, it's always good to look at what impact that may have on the inventory of commercial lands. Here are two areas directly adjoining or adjacent to the airport that are undeveloped commercial industrial lands where staff feels comfortable removing this 35 acres out of the commercial inventory because I feel that there's still sufficient land available for development. The development on the left side is the commercial air park, which is catty-corner from the subject property on the south side of Ledford Mill Road. Only 2 of those lots have currently been developed, so there are several lots, I would say at least 15 or 20 lots available in the industrial zoning for development. Similarly, the photograph of the aerial to the right is the property directly to the east of the airport, and you can kind of see there are several large undeveloped properties in that area that have either industrial or commercial zoning, as well as some underdeveloped sites within the commercial or industrial zoning districts that could be redeveloped. Go back. So again, to answer the questions that were asked, the subject properties in light blue, the northeast section of the property is in floodplain, so that has very limited to no development potential. The applicant is aware of that. And again, the small red area that's a square on the south side of the subject property is currently zone C2. It is not subject to this rezoning, so it will remain C2 zoning. So that would be an opportunity to do a small commercial development in that area, possibly uses that could either serve the airport directly or to the townhomes.
Mary, have we gotten a letter from the airport authority?
No, I was about to go, I was
Okay,
about to say
sorry.
that, Mr. Stanley, that's okay. I did attend, this area is adjacent to the airport. In the zoning ordinance of Tullahoma, there are specific airport overlay standards. There's a whole section of what can and cannot occur within the airport overlay zone. This is not located in that area. It's not in a RPZ zone or a regulated approach zone. So there are no specific restrictions related to the airport for this development. Saying that, as a courtesy, I took this proposal to the airport board for a recommendation last week. They discussed the pros and cons of the proposal. They did not provide a favorable recommendation. They were concerned about removing 35 acres out of the commercial inventory of potential developable land that could be airport support commercial uses. They informed me that they were going to send a letter to that effect, of which I never received a letter from them stating their formal opinion. So saying that, I believe I answered all the questions unless you have more. Staff has recommends voting to send a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on the findings of facts, which I stated are in your packet on page 24 and 25, to section 1006E of the City of Tullahoma zoning ordinance.
Thank you, Mary. Does anybody have any questions for Mary right now?
One question.
Yes, sir.
Mary, was there any input from the TAEDC board regarding this? I know that in the past they had weighed in on this regarding their air park there, and it had been some objection because they felt that having the residential area there would hinder the development of that air park, although since the past 5 years, there's not been any development of that air park. So I wondered if they had been weighed in or contacted in any way.
They did not have a formal position on this case.
Okay. I have a dilemma.
Can you pull your microphone down, please, sir?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
The dilemma that I have is, yes, Mr. Howard is a student recognizing that we do need that type of housing in Tullahoma. the airport, I sit on their board as a liaison from the city, and I listen to their concerns. And their concerns is that with this development there will be a lack of development for the airport if there's a residential area right across the street from it. So I hear both sides of these comments. I'm disappointed that they've not appeared to voice their concerns here today. But from Mr. Howard's point of view, I also feel that there'll be reluctance to develop, to buy residential property adjacent to a very noisy airport. So that's a challenge that you would have there. So I just offer that as an observation. But it is in a proximity to the folks that build helicopters there. A lot of night flight helicopter activities go on there. So that's something to be aware of, that just for consideration. Yes, sir.
I also considered it very much.
Please come, I'm sorry, sir. We have to make sure everything's on the record.
I also considered that, Mayor, what you're talking about. But when you look at the location compared to the noise, I think the location will always overweigh that. But I understand what you're saying.
It's just as an observation. One of the things that anyone in city government would be looking to do right now is put all the property on tax rolls that you possibly can. Appreciate your effort toward doing that. I wish we were putting people in the air park to add people on the property tax rolls as well. So thank you for your development.
All right.
Mary, where's on the application? It has a PUD referenced. Where does that come into play? Because it's my understanding that if we rezone this as R3, then he's free to develop as at will. But if it was a PUD, then there would be essentially a negotiation with the city.
Thank you, Mr. Shore. The applicant originally considered doing a planned unit development. However, ultimately, he did decide to just do the R3 zoning at this time.
Okay.
So he would be eligible for all property entitlements under that R3 zoning district.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that application. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Mary? It's from the board right now. Any other questions from the board? All right. We've already done the public comment section, so.
Any members of the public that have follow-up questions are more than happy to contact me in my office in the morning.
Okay. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve with staff comments.
Well, no, it's going to be a favorable motion for the approve for a favorable finding to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, correct?
Favorable recommendation.
Favorable recommendation.
Motion to make a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
All right, I have a motion,
I will second to facilitate discussion.
and we have a second from Commissioner Sandlin. All right, open discussion for the board. Would anybody like to have questions or comments?
Yeah, this is a pros and cons. I mean, it's, I do like the idea of some of these type townhome opportunities for people. A lot of folks move to town, they might want to rent for a while, but this would be a first good purchase, would be a townhome. It'd be less expensive than some of the single-family units we're building, I would presume. I look at a lot of land out there, and I see this concept plan as lots of hangar opportunity for future Momentum Foundation efforts, or whatever they're doing out there now. So I see pros and cons, but I do kind of lean in favor of some living options for home opportunities for people to have.
One thing I would add is if the airport wants to keep it commercial, then buy it. It's your property. If you want to put homes there, then I think put homes there.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the board? If not, I will call the question. All those in favor of sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. All right. With that, our next meeting will be Monday, November 15th. I will adjourn, and then we will reconvene as, sorry.
The Board of Zoning
Board of
Appeals
Zoning
meeting?
Appeals. And there we go. I lost my spot there. All right. Now, I'm opening the Board of Zoning Appeals. We'll call to order. Looks like we have one item on there. It's a variance to decrease the side yard setback from 25 to 15 on 1801 Avoca Road. If you would look at the minutes, and I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion from Mayor Noes and a second from Mr. Schwer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. With that, it's actually the city of Tullahoma is the applicant.
Correct.
Must be hard.
So we will look at this one. It's variance 216 to decrease the size of a yard setback from 25 feet to 15 feet on 1801 Avoca Road. Applicant is the city of Tullahoma. And I guess, Mary, we'll go straight to you.
Thank you. This is a variance application for Firehouse Number 2, which is located at 1801 Avoca Road. As a note for public education, all properties are required to comply with the zoning and subdivision control ordinance, including City of Tullahoma projects and properties. The fire station wants to add on to the existing firehouse, and the required setback, let me show you. Let me back up a minute. Here is the subject property. It's located on a corner lot on Avoca Road, as well as Noblet Lane, which is that road to the south. Per the zoning ordinance TZ1, the height bulk area table, whenever you're a corner lot, you have to take the front yard setback from both streets. So instead of the main street being your front and the side street being a side setback, it's actually both front yard setbacks. Because of that, on Noblet, the required setback is 25 feet from the right-of-way line. Here is the existing building as it exists today. You can see that it's relatively close to Noblet Lane already, with the parking lot and loading bays for the trucks on the rear of the property. Here is the proposed location of the small building addition. By small, I believe the building addition is 529 square feet. This is the floor plan for the addition. The main catalyst is to create separate gendered bathroom facilities, including showers for the male and female firefighters, as well as laundry facilities and some other appurtenances. So I've drawn in black the setback line. As you can see, the addition, which is in red, a portion of the building is clipped by the setback line, but I will note directly to the right and down from the addition, the existing building is already within that setback line, and I would argue that this encroachment, while it is in the setback, is less of an encroachment than the existing building is. As you can see from the aerial photograph, again, the existing building projects further into the setback. Saying that, staff went through the findings of fact, which are listed in your Board of Zoning Appeals packet, page number 4, and staff finds that the proposed addition should not have an adverse effect on the surrounding property owners, and it is the least amount of an addition to provide the required services, again, for the upgrade of the fire station. There are no alternatives for relocation of that addition based on the building's existing utility systems, as well as the required driveways for the trucks to ingress and egress the site. So staff recommends approval of the variance based on my findings of fact.
Thank you, Mary. Any questions for Mary? All right, after that, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the variance.
Second.
All right, so we had Mayor Noes, and I think you got in there, Mr. Coleman, for the second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. And then we will adjourn.